Hello and welcome back to the channel and another video about the construction of Heaton Lodge Junction Phase 2. Of course, at the minute I'm stood next to Heaton Lodge Junction Phase 1. But what have I been up to in the last week since I last saw you? Well, I've been on my travels, to be honest. I have been to Mannheim in Germany to see the manufacturers of Lodi, which is the company which is going to be installing the automation system. Well, in fact, it's more a control system which encompasses automation, and of course it means that the layout can also be worked manually too. So I've been to see them just to cross some T's and dot some I's. And where else have I been? I've been up to Newcastle because one of the contributors to this layout is Lees Locos. Lee Edmondson, who's behind Lees Locos, does all my sound installations in all the locos. He's pretty meticulous and his attention to detail is basically second to none. I'm only giving him a plug because he does a really good job. So we're going to have a look and see what his day encompasses. Had some deliveries as well this week from railway laser lines, which I'm going to show you. There's also been lots of progress on the mainline station, which James, my new helper, has been dedicating himself to transforming, and he's doing a superb job. He really is. So quite a lot to go through today, and hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, just a really quick update on how the repainting of the loco bodies is going. So I'm doing this kind of the last hour of the day just to do something different from ballasting and fitting droppers and all the rest of it. Originally, as some of you might remember, I just blasted over the bodies, the original grey bodies, the 56 in BR Rail Freight Grey and the EWS, sorry, and the BR Grey Class 60s. I just blasted over them with high coat filler and then repainted the EWS colours on top. And I had a bit of a disaster with this one, some of you might remember, because I put that too near the fan that I was using to dry the paint, and of course I will live to regret that. But anyway, yeah, it went okay, but I just thought after going to Lees the other week, I thought, goodness me, I'm going to strip these again, rub them down and see if I can get a better finish. And I've done that, and I've got to say, yeah, it's better, but it's still not to the same kind of standard that I would like. It certainly isn't factory finish, but they're okay for me because basically these are going to be heavily weathered and hopefully you won't really see. They're going to be good enough for me, certainly not, as I've just said, to factory standard. This is a factory body shell from Hellion, of course. This one turned out quite well, 56087. I think from memory that's going to be Port of Hull. Yeah, that turned out okay. This one is the Virgin, of course, but I just pulled off a bit of the white stripes there. This is going to be Resolve, which is going to pull a load of Mark IIs and Mark IIIs along the main lines, not the HS3 line, but the main lines, and use the mainline station. So yeah, it's coming on okay. I just like to tinker about in here at the end of the day, and it kind of relaxes me. But yeah, it's coming on all right. I'm just going to spend a few days, few evenings, putting the transfers on, putting the glazing back in, and yeah, we will see where it takes us. So folks, feast your eyes on the mainline station, which is rapidly being transformed, as I said in the introduction by James. He has done a sterling job, and we're just going to take a more detailed look at what has been going on, because what is really falling into place is the location of where everything is going to go. So what we've decided is the mainline station based on Dewsbury, which was built, as some of you might know, by Monksgate Models some months ago, probably about a year ago now. That is going to sit there. And I've had to cut out the platform to lower the station into place so I can build up the platform to obviously make up the distance between the ground and those doors that you can see. So yeah, James is going to be working on that when he's back next week. The multi-storey car park is going to be definitely located just here. And if I just pan around and show you the station itself, James has been infilling the platforms, which as you can see just here, with some plaster, just some basic plaster you buy from B&Q. I have spent, my goodness me, it must have been 9 hours fitting this point, which was originally built by Markway Models in Sheffield. I mentioned this the other week because I had to get this specially made simply because it needed to encompass a 30-foot radius curve. So the point work, as you can see, is now installed. It had to be packed out with card to match with the Pico track, but that is looking really, really good. And as you can see, if I pan the camera around, you can see just the beautiful curve of the track, which when these canopies up and the lighting's installed and the walkway, the stairwells and the lift shafts are all at the other end, this really is going to look spectacular. And as I keep saying it, James has done a superb job on here. So yeah, absolutely great. Multi-storey car park is going to go there. Now, we've had a bit of a think, or at least, again, I'll mention James again because he's come up with the idea of, some of you might remember, just digressing, that I'm having some shops made, 2 rows of shops, which are about 1.5 meters long each. There's also a Starbucks, a McDonald's, a Shell petrol station, and some other bits and pieces. And basically, they're going to go down at the other end of this station. And what's going to happen is the road, which, again, I'll just pan around. You can see the roadway over the bridge, which is the scenic break, which joins phase 2 with phase 1. The road is going to go behind the multi-storey car park. The entrance to the multi-storey car park is going to be at the back. It is then going to drop down on some more extension carts, link in with the taxi canopy, which you might just be able to catch a glimpse of if I pan around again. Yeah, it's just on the left-hand side of that station. There'll be another 2 extension carts at the other side of that piece of wood there. The road will then come right to the end. There'll be a junction before the road spans this impressive girder bridge. Now, this was made by, it was a ready-built model by Torrey Laser, which I bought a couple of years ago, and I thought it might come in useful, and it really is coming in useful because this bridge will carry a road, and it's going to come over the bridge, and it's going to drop down onto these carts here. Now, where I'm stood is going to be more of the extension carts. And at this side, where we've got probably about 15 foot of space, there's going to be the McDonald's, the Starbucks. I know some of you that don't know that I've changed eras to the early 2000s will be thinking there wasn't Starbucks in the 1980s, and there wasn't, but there certainly is in the 2000s. So the Starbucks will be down here with the McDonald's and the petrol station, lots of shops, which will run to just about where these MGR sidings start, the storage sidings for the MGR trains. So that is where we're at. The other thing I wanted to share with you was the castle. Now, just let me pan round, and we talked about the castle last week, didn't we? Let me pull it out. Oh. So a lot of you on the YouTube comments came up with the idea of making this castle, which was made by Alan Downs, probably about 10 years ago now, into a hotel. What a great idea. So it was going to be a Premier Inn. I was going to badge it up with Premier Inn logos, but I think now, as James said, Premier Inn are mainly new builds. So I think we're going to go with Best Western. We're going to light it up at the front. This wall is going to come off, and it's going to be installed somewhere around here, high up on a hill, as a Best Western hotel. And I just think those of you that made that comment, brilliant. Thanks very much, because it's perfect. So that will be a place that I've yet to decide, but somewhere around here anyway. And then, folks, the power station and the cooling towers, which I've touched on in the past, are going to be on the other side. So basically, I'm just going to walk round again and just show you where the power station is going to be. So the power station is going to be just about there. The cooling towers are at the far side, with the power station building at the far side as well. So basically, the public are going to be able to walk right near the MGR sidings, and the shops and the cafes, Starbucks are going to be at this side where the camera is. The far side is going to be where the power station buildings are as well. So there we go. That is the final place where everything is going to be situated. But everything is dropping into place now quite rapidly. But just touching back on the station again, really pleased with how that's come on. I'm just, I don't know, I love that curved track. I love curved stations anyway, but I think you will agree, it really does look good. The weathering and the ballast is by Geoscenics. I've touched on this before. On the right is their granite ballast, and on the left is the weathered limestone ballast. And I've just used the Humbrol Dark Earth rattle can paint just to give it a very light dusting, just to kind of dumb everything down. So that's worked really well. The mistake I did make, of course, and that's been pointed out in the comments, and you're quite right, is I put the ballast down before I put the sides of the platforms in, which was a big mistake. So what I'm going to have to do is just infill these platforms with ballast just to cover up the edge. So yeah, but it's coming on really well, in leaps and bounds. So there we go. Let us move on to the next clip. Okay, so now we're going to take a trip up to Newcastle to see Lee Edmondson of Lees Locos. Now, I said in the introduction that I have an affiliation because Lee is a good friend. He also does a very good job at fitting sound systems, that's the decoders, and the speakers, of course, into O and double O gauge locos. He is also one of the most meticulous painters I've ever come across, and his repaints that form a lot of his working day of body shells into bespoke liveries is pretty astounding. I've never seen anybody do anything up to kind of factory standards apart from he manages to do it. How he does it, I don't know, because I can't and I've tried. But anyway, let's go up and spend a bit of time with Lee of Lees Locos. He's one of the contributors to Heaton Lodge Junction, as I've just said, so he deserves a plug. So let's nip up to Newcastle and see what his working day encompasses. So we're at Lees Locos and we are just looking at the Class 60s that Lee has just fitted with sound. And in fact, let's just have a look at Lee's new helper. Well, he's not new because he's been around a while, hasn't he? This is it buttons or bubbles? It's buttons. I always call him Bubbles though, don't I? I don't know why.
It's buttons, isn't it?
So yeah, viewers, this is Lee Edmondson, who does all my sound fitting and decoder fitting. He is extremely meticulous, as I've already said. This wiring looks like something out of an automotive factory, and it really is good. But Lee, you were telling me that the 60s are a little bit more complicated to fit with decoders than the 56s and the rest of them. Is that right?
They are, Simon. I mean, basically, most of the chips in most of the locos, you've got two motors,
yeah,
and you've got pickups from the rails on either side.
So I'm just trying to get the dog out of the way. Yeah,
that's the straightforward bit.
Yeah,
but the Class 60 has, I think it's 11 or 12 lighting sort of options on there. So it uses every single function on the chip.
Right. So it just makes them a bit more time consuming.
It makes it a bit more time consuming, but it is worth it because, you know, when they're running about on the layout, you've got basically more prototypical options in it. It's just handy when they're in yards and things like that.
I mean, I've got to be honest, when I used to fit these chips, and decoders, or whatever you call them. Mine look like a bit of an explosion inside a bomb factory, but yours is, I mean, look at the wiring on that. It's absolutely meticulous. But I guess that's the way you work, isn't it? Because everything you do is very, very tidy, very, very neat. But you know,
there is a little bit of OCD there.
Mm.
I'll be honest.
But that lends itself well to what you do, doesn't it?
It does actually. It does.
And when you look, let's just pan up, because we're just going to look at some of these bodies. Because how much of your work on an average day is split between fitting decoders and sound and repainting
I would
bodies?
say over the years it's split. It was mainly repaints.
Yeah.
But we're now probably, I would say, 30-40% repaints.
Interesting. I mean,
the rest is weathering, sound fitting, and general jobs. But a large part of the job is now sound fitting.
I get you. Yeah, well, it's such a big thing, is sound these days in the model railway world, isn't it?
It is.
But this one you've obviously done for a customer, because I've never seen a 58 ready to run in this livery.
That's actually getting done for the 58 locomotive group.
Interesting, right? Yeah.
They wanted that. There's 58 or 50 there, which is in its Spanish livery. I don't think either of those have been done.
It really is. Well, I don't know where to start, because I've tried to repaint loco bodies so many times, stripped them down, followed your instructions, but for some reason mine never look like these.
These aren't finished yet. I mean, these are still works in progress. So, you know, they haven't been varnished and finished. And once you varnish and finish, you can see there's marks there where the transfers need to go on. They've been glossed. But once the matted, sheened and weathered, they are quite close to a factory finish.
So basically, you do a lot of these for people who just want bespoke liveries, which I guess, you know, are not available ready to run. They're just liveries, because you do a bit of double O gauge as well, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit of double O gauge. I mean, I don't really major on double O gauge repaints now. The double O gauge side tends to be weathering, sound fitting, etc. But yeah, it's bespoke stuff. You know, we are blessed by the manufacturers now. There's an awful lot of stuff on the shelf compared to previous years. But as you can see, looking around the workshop, there's still an awful lot where people want them done as a favourite loco, a specific one-off. You know.
So you're doing this 27. This is for you, isn't it? From what
that's mine. That it's that's been on the go for a couple of years. That has. It takes a long time to get my projects through, but I originally started that, and I was attracted to the fact that it had a big gouge down the body side.
Oh yeah. So you're trying to factor that in as well.
I tried doing it with the standard. Just, you know, I melted a strip into the side of the ready to run loco. It didn't work, so I ended up stripping it right down. That's a full repaint, and it was the only way I could get it. We're nearly there now.
Beautiful. I mean, it just makes me smile every time I come in here, because you just look at everything and how it's absolutely meticulously laid out, whereas again, mine's like my workshop's a bit like a grenade's being thrown in a paint factory. But anyway,
maybe it is a little bit, but Simon, I can only go so far in mess.
Well, yeah, when you're doing it as a business,
I just can't cope with it. So it helps as well, because when I get really busy and things, believe it or not, do actually get a little bit messy, I can't find things. I don't know where things are. And you know, when you look at the next bit, I'm running, there's an excess of 100 jobs here. Yeah. When you split them all down, you take all the parts off. If you lose something, it very quickly gets on top.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why you got all your little bits and pieces in these shelves
parts
here. What have we got through here? Let's just have a look so the viewers can see.
So what you've seen in the workshop is stuff in progress. What's all this then? This is all to do. This is the to do pile.
Crikey! Look at these. So you've got O gauge at the top there. And then we've got O gauge on the second shelf down as well. I mean, there's everything here. Oh, it's a nice Lodi 56 there. I love that.
That's yours, isn't it?
Oh, is it mine?
I'm sure that's
yours. Yeah, it is. It's waiting for the sound. And we got some double O. Got some double O here as well, which is interesting. Again, you told me before, but what proportion do you do in double O?
Oh, in double O, it's
not that much.
We're not even talking 5%.
Nah.
I've just got, you know, a lot of customers from the early days where I started off in N gauge, believe it or not.
Yeah.
In double O gauge, and I still take a handful of stuff in from those guys.
Yeah. Got you. You got a nice airbrush spray booth there.
Yeah, you know, it's been changed and chopped over the years. Yeah. That's a fair bit bigger. It's a little bit more of an industrial unit. They're all chassis which are finished and waiting for the bodies down the bottom.
Got you.
But that works really well with the O-gauge stuff.
It really is like a proper production line, isn't it? For you know, for model railways, it's like nothing I've seen. But it's, I guess, as you said, you know, if you're doing this as a business, which you have been doing for how long now? It's quite a while, isn't it?
I think we're coming up to 12 years now.
Yeah, it's just got to be really, really well organised.
Well, I mean, you know, you tend not to blow your own trumpet, but you can see how busy I am.
Yeah.
It's grown every year.
Yeah.
So we must be doing something right, I can only presume.
Absolutely. No, that's brilliant. Thanks very much. And what role does the dog play in all this?
The dog is in charge of customer service.
And have you taught Bubbles to answer the phone?
Buttons.
Oh yeah.
She's tried, but sometimes we do lose a little bit in communication because she just tends to bark a lot, you know.
Oh well, never mind. Well, she's come out of a slumber now, so great stuff. Thanks very much. Been a pleasure talking to you, and
cheers, Simon.
I really like seeing these loco bodies. I just wish I could get near what you achieve. I'm pretty good at weathering if I blow my own trumpet, but well, I mean, when it comes to repainting, it is a different kettle of fish.
But the thing is, though, I mean, something I struggle with a lot of time is we can't be jacks of all trades.
Nah.
You know, as we've discussed, I can't build layouts. I'm okay at scenery, but this is my specialist area.
Yeah.
If I want anything else done, I'll go to somebody else, like any other trade. Took me a number of years to realise, but I just can't do all things. You can't specialise in all areas.
You can't. So I'll get these 60s in the boot, and then we've got a load of 56s to tackle after this. I think there's about 14 of those.
Oh, marvellous.
So, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So, there we go. Lees Locos, folks. Any bespoke repaints or sound fitting? If you want that sort of meticulous fitting, then here's the place to go. Thanks, Lee. Speak to you in a bit.
Cheers, Simon.
Now, another thing that arrived this week is the first of a batch of these MTB MP4 point motors, because one thing that Andreas, who runs Lodi in Germany, recommended was that I swap the current point motors for these, because they are smaller and they're German made. I'm not saying they're more reliable. I'm just saying that they are physically a little bit smaller, which does help my cause. So all the point motors on Heaton Lodge phases 1 and 2 will be swapped for these MP4 MBB German made point motors. And they work really well. I saw a couple of layouts over in Germany that these work on, and they are very, very quiet, and they just work exceptionally well. And I think for the concrete overpass, where I've got to fit a few of these on the roof of the tunnel, the current motors obviously won't fit in there, but these will. So there we go. We're going to be swapping the current loader point motors for these, and hopefully, I've not fitted any yet, but I'm hoping they are quite easy to fit. So just thought I'd update you on the electronics for those of you that have an interest in electronics and all things that power model railways. Now, many of you will know that watch my videos regularly that Railway Laser Lines is a big contributor to Heaton Lodge Junction Phase 2. And Steve at Railway Laser Lines made these magnificent gantries, which are just absolutely epic when I can get the camera to focus in on them. I just love these. They really are superb. There's actually 5 or 6 at the minute, and Steve is on with the same number again. So there should be 12 or 13, can't quite remember, but they've all got their positions marked out on this enormous marshalling yard which stretches down there. So Steve is on with that. But this week arrived their smaller cousins, which are these, and these are just as intricate and detailed as you'd expect from Railway Laser Lines. And this one is the gantry tower, the smaller version, which is going to go, I think 5 are going to go around the Healy Mills depot. These are available in 00 gauge, fully built, or in kit form, or in O gauge, and they are just absolutely intricate, meticulous in their detail, as you can see. Love these, really do. So, and I love the way they're supplied in these boxes, which come in really useful, sorry Steve, for all sorts of other things too. So yeah, he's even got the Heaton Lodge yard light, that's the phrase I was looking for, yard light, marked laser cut on the box. So there we go. Now the other thing that I wanted too, which I really liked about these super big brother gantries, was the fencing at the bottom, because I wanted some smaller fencing, not quite as tall as this, simply to line or mark round the main lines, between the main lines and the storage yards. A bit further down, I needed about 15 or 20 meters of it. So Steve very kindly has done some prototypes, if you like, of this fencing, which is, as you can see, a little bit smaller. And in fact, they're so detailed. They've even got the markings of the bolts and everything else in them. They're etched. They're just lovely. That he's introduced them on his website as well. So I think these are available in 00 as well as O. Certainly available in O. Not sure about 00. I think they are. If you go on the website, you will see. But these can be bought, and these are going to line the edges of the mainline tracks between the main line and the storage sidings, as I've just said, and they come in this lovely fold out box here, and it just means that I've just got to take them out of the actual etchers, and then I'm just going to prime them and probably paint them in the same kind of silver color as that one there. So yeah, just need a lot of everything on this layout. It's never like 1 or 2 meters. It's always like 20 or 30 meters. So, but it's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But there we go. So yeah, thanks, Steve. They are looking great. I can't wait to see Healy Mills Depot, which is also on with, that most of you will know about. And more of these are going to land at the end of the year, as well as the depot itself. Look forward to seeing those, because we're going to do a special on Healy Mills Depot when it does land. And yeah, there we go. Hope you liked the fencing, which again is available on Steve's website, Railway Laser Lines. Okay, so I've got a bit of news for you, which some of you might find interesting. That, yeah, I think we've talked in the past about where the layout is going to go. And what I really wanted to do from the very outset And I kind of changed when phase 1 went out a few years ago. I don't know why. I got kind of sucked into doing exhibitions again. And it's not that I'm against exhibitions, traditional model railway exhibitions that I'm talking about. It's simply because the setup time that I need of at least a week now, phase 2 is coming on, makes it just impossible for any exhibition managers to kind of allocate the time and the money to have the Heaton Lodge phase 1 and 2 in a particular exhibition hall. So unless I organise the exhibition myself, which is a massive amount of work, as some of you exhibition managers will know, and I just haven't got the time, I'm going to have to find other places for the railway to go. So that's why I hit upon taking it to places where the public already go. And we've talked about this many times. And my passion, one of my passions has always been to get new people into the hobby. And this is where I do take my hat off to the likes of Making Tracks, because I know that they share that dream as well of getting more people involved. So yes, this layout will be going out to places where the public already go. National Trust properties, out of town shopping centres in a huge marquee. But I digress, because I have a couple of friends who are farmers who are building a huge, and I mean a huge, warehouse or grain store right next to the M1 motorway, right opposite the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, obviously in Yorkshire, in the UK, for those of you watching abroad. And for a couple of months of the year, especially during the summer holidays, the railway is going to be situated here. And you can see how big this is from the video that I'm just showing you at the minute. The M1, I think it's junction 39 or junction 38, is right next to the actual building itself. And on the opposite side is the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, with all the hundreds and, well, thousands of people that visit that every year. It's got car parks, cafes and everything else. So what I wanted to tell you today is that the railway will be going to this huge building for at least a couple of months a year during the school holidays. And for those of you that are into agriculture, you'll know that farmers are allowed to use agricultural buildings for different purposes just for a couple of months. Hence, this is where the railway is going, and they are purposely making it big enough to put my railway in. So I'll have car parking and everything else. So really looking forward to that. And I am racing, as you all know, to get it finished for the summer holidays next year. So just thought I'd update you on that. Exciting stuff. So that's about it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video this week. Another one, of course, coming next Friday at the same time. I've just been for a wander around that new building that I just mentioned, and it really is enormous. So well situated, right next to the motorway, right opposite the Yorkshire Sculpture Park. So as I said in that piece, it will be there, the railway, for at least the summer holidays, hopefully, of course, next year. So thanks again for all of you as well that contribute to the YouTube comments. You know who they are, or I know who they are. They're always really well received. I enjoy reading them on a Saturday morning, sat in front of a cup of coffee at the local Costa. So thanks again for that. Please like and subscribe as ever. And have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.